Warning, the following audio may contain disturbing and violent content, which is not suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion advised. Welcome back. I'm Nyoka.
I'm Rachel.
And we are
Operation Evil.
All right. So today we're going to talk about Susan Smith. She is a lovely character, as you will find out. She was
a delight indeed.
A delightful person. America's most liked. No. So Susan Smith was born in 1971 and married David Smith in 1991, and they had two children. Michael, who was 3 years old, he was born in 91, and Alex, who was 14 months old, and he was born in 93. They lived in Union, South Carolina, but unfortunately their relationship devolved, and she filed for divorce in 1994. So at the time, it's October 25th, 1994. Susan's 23 years old. She's already separated from her husband. And on this particular day, she reported to the police that while she was at a red light, a black man carjacked her vehicle with the kids still in it. For 9 days, Susan was on the news pleading for the safe return of her children, and the case went nationwide.
And 3 different occasions. One of the occasions was national news.
Yes.
Like the major 3 networks.
Yes. This case was huge. Everybody was concerned about these kids. She, from what I understand, she gave a generic description of
very
this
vague
person that abducted her kids in her vehicle. And it was so generic that it did no good. The sketch did no good.
It could have just been any old body in town.
Yes, it could have. So that was one downfall. And
which kind of started their suspicions, right?
Yeah, I think they were pretty suspicious from the get-go about her because I think their Channel 7 news, I want to say, came the day that she reported them being kidnapped. And they came down to do the interview, and her husband, or ex-husband, I should say, the kid's dad, he came over. And
David.
Yes. So they were, before the news happened, they kind of told him, we're going to let you know when you're on, you're going to say this, we're going to do that. And she was just excited about being on TV.
No way.
Yeah. So David honestly looked like shocked, like you could tell he's struggling with what is just happening. And she's just like, oh my God, can you believe we're going to be on TV?
Which is, speechless.
Yes.
Again, because he was talking about how, the day that the kids went missing,
yes, that
he had to go over to her house and hold her because she was so distraught.
Yes. And that's something. And the only reason why we even know about that reaction is because later on, one of the attorneys got a hold of the raw footage from the news station and saw how she was reacting.
Oh my gosh.
So it was like a performance. But she didn't do very good hiding that, obviously. You're excited about being on TV? Your kids just got abducted. So she kept this sadness up for 9 days. November 3rd, 1994, she confesses as her story just falls apart. She kept changing details. She admitted that there was no carjacker, and according to NBC News, she strapped her kids in the car seats of a Mazda and drove them into John D. Long Lake, and they drowned.
Yeah, her intention was to commit suicide herself, and she did not want her kids to live without her. She was depressed and suicidal. She was upset because of her boyfriend breaking up with her.
Yes.
Which we'll get to.
Yes, that's a great segue because her motive, from what everybody thinks, Tom Finley, he was the son of the owner of the company that she worked for. So he had money, he was well-to-do. She knew that. But when he ended their relationship, which he ended it through this like typed letter,
and
it was very generic.
He was like the town's most eligible bachelor, right?
Yes.
That's what I saw one thing refer to him.
Yes, and in this letter, when he's breaking it off with her, he tells her, "Look, I don't want kids," and she already had two, and that's when a few days later that she did this to her children. From that moment on, she became international news most hated woman.
Yeah, it went from love, pouring love and support to total hatred.
Everyone hated her, and she was on the cover of People as well. So July 18th, 1995, the trial starts. David Smith was asked if he wanted them to pursue the death penalty, like what his stance was on it, and he was for it. He did not hold back. If she faced the death penalty, she would be the first woman since 1987 to face it in South Carolina.
Wow.
So I thought that was interesting.
The prosecutor was very set on it. He feels like, there was justice, but it wasn't complete for him.
Right. And here they decided to do a reconstruction of the event. And I don't know if you saw this or not, but I saw the video. So they got the same kind of vehicle, make, model, whatever. They had the same kind of car seats. They put weights in it for the weights of how much the kids weighed. So everything was exactly the same. They attached a camera on the inside.
Yeah.
And they drove it into the lake. Well, it took 6 minutes for the car to go down. Those kids had no chance. They were strapped in. And if you watch the footage, and this is a trigger warning, if you don't want to hear this, go ahead and click off. It's okay. But these kids, they had no chance. They were strapped in, and they're like, the car is pointed downwards, going into the lake.
Yes, very. Because it ends up flipping over when they find it, right?
Yeah. So I mean, the water's coming up and covering their face automatically like that. It took 6 minutes. That was plenty of time for Susan to save her kids if she was going to save them at all. It could have been done.
And it's so aggravating too because she set, she got out of the car, set the emergency brake. Well, actually, she said it before she got out of the car. Got out of the car, took it off. So, I mean, she had that time to react to that.
Yeah. Well, didn't she say that she wanted to kill herself with them and she was in the car and then got scared and then got out?
Yeah.
But she didn't bother to get her kids out?
Or at least try.
I don't buy that. Yeah, obviously, that never happens. No.
And she claims that she loves her kids, which I don't understand how you can say that you love your kids and do that to them. I understand, the suicide, depression, and, what is that called? Like the baby blues after you have a child?
Postpartum.
Right.
Depression.
But the youngest was already, 14 months?
Yeah. Yeah. And
was there ever any speculation of that?
No. And actually, they talked to the ex-husband, and he said that he racked his brain thinking of, was there any signs of her being capable of doing something like this? Did he see this coming? And he said no.
Yeah, he wholeheartedly believed before this confession that
she was a good mom.
Right. And I think the detective started asking them questions, because that's what you do. The family is the first ones.
Yes.
They roll them out or whatever.
Yep.
And he was like, no way.
Yep. Yeah, he couldn't think of her ever doing what she did. He never thought his kids were unsafe with her.
I think everyone thought that.
Yeah. So, luckily, the judge allowed this reconstructed scene into evidence and played it for the jury. And while they're playing it for the jury, they said that she's just looking down or playing tic-tac-toe or doing this, and smiling here, hardly ever looking up at the video. Very cold. She even giggles a little bit too. It's just very annoying how she behaves.
The only times I saw her cry when it was about herself.
Yeah, that's the only time she cried. When she had to put on a performance, maybe she cried for herself.
When she was talking on, it might have been the second interview that they had of her on tape, pleading for the kids. Mm-hmm. It was the one where she was talking to the kids. When she's, saying that we love you so much.
Yes.
Just her voice and the way it's like, is that just the way she talked, or was that fake?
I don't know. I think she was definitely acting, and if I remember correctly, watching it, she would look down a lot. She wasn't looking into the camera, right. Which is definitely a sign of guilt. I don't know if they ever mentioned that though, but it seemed like she was looking down a lot.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So during the murder trial, her stepfather, I don't know if you heard about this. Have you heard about her stepdad?
Mm-hmm. Okay. It reminds me of that other psycho, Casey Anthony.
Oh, yeah. We might have to cover that one sometime. But during the murder trial, her stepfather, Beverly Russell, I didn't know Beverly was a unisex name. I learned that. That was something new. I always get surprised at those because I never knew anyone like that.
Maybe where they're from.
Maybe.
The state or something.
Yeah. Which is fine. I just never heard that. But he testified that he and Susan had a consensual sexual relationship 2 months before her drowning her sons. He admits also to sexually assaulting Susan when she was 16 years old, but they never charged him with anything because both Susan and her mom never took it anywhere.
So they just let it go,
they let it
happen,
go.
Or
no charges. He takes blame and part responsibility for her actions for what she did, and pleaded with the jury to spare her life.
Oh, and him and her mother took out a second mortgage to pay for a defense attorney that specialized in death penalty cases. Because she had what do you call that?
That's right.
Appointed court lawyer.
Yes, and the attorney they hired, it was a woman, and she did specialize in that. I can't remember what her name was, but they were successful. And on July 27th, 1995, what she found out, she will not be executed. So the death penalty is off the table, but she is guilty of 2 counts of murder, life in prison, eligible for parole in 20 years. And guess when 20 years is?
It's what, 2024?
2024. And I think November is the month, I want to say I've read somewhere, but I'm not for sure. But 2024 is when she's eligible. So,
did you see that she wrote a letter to the prosecutor?
No. Tell me about that.
Yeah, she wrote a letter to him, and it's stating, about that she did not kill her kids because of another man, and talking about how she loved her kids.
Oh, I think I did.
Did you see that?
Yes. She is so full of it.
She is.
I don't buy that for 1 second. Not a second. So she's been in prison, and I don't know if you saw this, but there's been updates on her and her prison life.
Yeah, it seems like there's one certain news source that seems to check up on her every couple years.
Well, former cellmates Stephanie Halsey and Christy Smith told Lifetime how she was manipulated. They were manipulated by her, and they helped her carry out sexual affairs and spoke about her ability to manipulate others into getting drugs for her. Did you read that?
I saw something about a prison guard.
Oh, that's different. These are the cellmates.
Just the cellmates?
Yeah, these are her cellmates.
Oh, wow.
And how they manipulated her. And but I think what you're talking about is in the year 2000, she had sex with 2 prison guards. Not 1.
And they got fired. They lost their job.
2! Oh my God. One of them was Houston, is it Kaggle?
I didn't catch his name.
He was fired and had 3 months in jail.
He got jail time too?
Yes, he did. And then the other one was Alfred Rowe. He got 5 years probation.
The one that I saw, he had long grayish hair, kind of
yes,
a
I saw
ponytail.
that.
So he was like, she is manipulative. Why is that word so hard for us to say?
Because it's been a long day. And we can't speak anymore.
Can't speak.
Can't speak.
I wanted to point out that the prosecutor's name is Tommy Pope.
Oh, okay.
And he is the one, that she wrote the letter to.
Oh.
So, yeah, you all will have to look that up. And
yes.
It doesn't show the whole... I'm sure that the whole letter's out there, but he just talked about points in the letter.
Yeah.
Because, her thing is, it wasn't because of another man that was why she killed her kids.
Sure, Susan.
Mm-hmm.
Do whatever you say, Susan.
And boy, the defense, that whole suicidal depression thing really worked.
Oh, my God.
To keep her from... Oh, the defense, their thing was, too, I don't know if you saw this, but their angle was that she would be, because she wanted to die, that justice would be served better if she lived with what she did.
Do you think these people play, like, reverse psychology?
I think they do.
When they're like, please give me the death penalty. And then they're like, I'm not going to give you the death penalty because that is what you want, is you forever live your life out in prison. So I wonder if that's a thing, like reverse psychology. That
it has to be, because, the lawyers got to work out strategies and angles.
Right. And then people like Ted Bundy, who begged, please, I don't want to be executed, that sort of thing. They're executed. So I just want to know, is that a thing? It sounds like it.
Yeah, and then, the thing that you were talking about with the abuse and stuff like that.
Yes, with the stepfather?
Yes.
Yes.
So 2 of the jurors said, they that's why they chose not to give her the death penalty, because she could have been helped and she didn't get the help that she needed. So I'm guessing that they thought maybe it was a crime that could have been prevented.
Maybe. And I'm sure her being sexually assaulted by her stepfather was not the highlight of her teenage years.
Right. But
I'm sure it did a number on her. However, that's... a lot of these people have had messed up.
I know, that's what I was just thinking.
And it's like, it's weird when I listen to their story when they're younger and the traumas and things that they went through. I feel so bad for them. I'm like, oh my God, that's terrible. How could somebody treat that person that way? And then they grow up and be psycho killers.
Yeah.
But not all of them do.
No,
right?
And then, just, people that go through abuse as a child.
Yes.
They grow up and become doctors.
Yes. You don't have to be a killer because this happened to you. And I
It's
I gotta remind myself that every time, because I almost feel a little sad hearing about their backstory.
Well, right. I mean, that's human nature, to feel that way. But at the same time, you can't.
Yes.
Can't make excuses.
You can't, and it's
for your actions.
It's just I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. But I do know that it's in 2010. Still, they're checking on Susan in prison life. She was disciplined at least 5 times for things like self-mutilation, use and possession of narcotics, and using marijuana.
Didn't she lost her commissary privileges?
Yes,
right?
They slowly took away all these things until I don't think she had much of anything by the time she was done. But lately, from what I understand, she's been on her best behavior because
coming up on parole.
Yes. I don't think she's going to get out in 2024, and it sounds like other people are predicting the same. She's just had a lot of stuff happen.
Her current mugshot, where she's all smiling and...
Dude, she looks like a soccer mom.
That's what I saw.
Somebody said that.
Yes.
She does.
She does.
You look at her and you would never think.
It makes me sick to think, though, that she could get out and have more kids.
She could. She's young enough.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, too, what gets me, though, is like seeing what these people look like, and you would never pick them out to be the killer they are. Mm-hmm. And the people that you would think is like the creepy guy next door or whatever
is the nicest.
It's totally the innocent one. It's always what you're not expecting.
He's the one that does the charity work.
Yeah, yes. He's just living his best life. That's all that's going on with him.
Now, David, the father of the 2 boys.
Yes.
Alex and Michael. He went to some kind of event and was talking to law enforcement, sort of a training, and he was reiterating, I know it's a hard job, but you've got to ask those tough questions, talking about, rule out the parents. Don't,
really?
Yeah. Being very supportive of the whole situation.
Yeah.
Of how that process, because... he said, honestly, I did get upset. I'm thinking, why are you asking me these questions when you were wasting time? You could be out there looking for my kids.
That's true. I can see how a parent would think that. Mm-hmm. And it is sad to think that most of the time it is the parents or a member of the family. It is somebody they know. It's hardly ever this random stranger.
Mm-hmm. It's so terrible that he had to be in that position.
Yes.
And it was fresh, which I'm sure every day it is fresh for him. Like it happened yesterday.
Yeah, he described in the interview, which was years later, he said it's almost like he put all his memories of those kids into a shoebox and put it on a shelf. And then he had to take that shoebox down from the shelf and open it up for trial.
Oh.
And it was so sad. And you can tell he's still heartbroken. He did have 2 more children.
And he got married, right?
Yeah, so he does have a happier life now and a dad again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about his testimony. Tommy Pope, the prosecutor, mm-hmm. he was even brought to tears.
Oh my God.
I saw that on something where he said it himself that, he kind of broke down. He's like, and I've never done that. So.
How do you hurt your own babies?
That whole town, she just, not only her immediate family, but the whole town, she destroyed the whole town. Yeah. They, were going around and putting up ribbons, yellow ribbons, and then soon it turned to blue and white in memory. And then they have a memorial at the lake. I don't know if I thought it was like a park area. Not quite sure if it's like a monument or something. But as soon as they found out what had really happened,
Yeah.
there was a shrine immediately.
It's horrible too because it's a beautiful area.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Someone
like
said,
tainted with this memory.
yeah, someone mentioned that. She said this is such a beautiful lake, and now it's just ruined.
It is. It is. And it was sad because when they did find the kids, one of them's like little hand was pressed up against the window. It was devastating.
The grandpa, which is David's father, he said that there were so many people at the service. It was like 7 miles from where they held the funeral or the church to the burial site. And he said, people were still coming.
Yeah, because it was like a really small, tight little community.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody went to church together. And Sundays were quiet and it was family time. And you just heard church bells every
Mm-hmm.
once in a while or, a vehicle driving by or whatnot.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and this is a little tidbit that I never knew, because I'm sure you remember the media coverage, which we were
young, but
yeah.
I was, high school? Yeah, 95.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember her crying on the TV? That's what I remember.
A little
crying.
bit, yeah. I remember a little bit. What stuck most to me is it's just the whole vehicle driving them to the lake like that. That story, I didn't remember her name per se, but I remembered the story. And I remembered like how awful, how do you hurt your own kids, your own flesh and blood.
Well, and I had forgotten until I saw it again, but how like you kind of forget something and then you see it and you're like, oh my gosh, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
The detective, I remember now, when I was younger, him being on the TV saying Susan Smith has confessed, and then he announced what happened, and
she's charged with 2 counts murder. I don't think she should ever be able to get out.
I don't either.
She does not deserve it.
No. Oh, and what I was going to say was that they figured out. So remember how she said she stopped at a traffic light?
Yes.
And then someone hijacked her.
Right.
Well, the light that she stopped at, the other light doesn't turn unless there's that light doesn't turn unless there's cross traffic.
Oh.
So there was no way, and she said that no one was around.
Oh, she messed up.
Yeah, so they figured that too, like, you're saying no one was around to see, but yet the light was red. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I think the grandpa said too, he's like, if it were me and that would happen, I was at a red light and I would have the bumper of the car in my hands for where I held on so tight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is a horrible, horrible human. We're going to have to keep an eye on this case, especially since it'll be coming up in 2024. There's going to be updates.
I'm sure that people could debate this because on one hand, they could argue her mental stability back then, and then now she's more mental. Maybe her mentality is healthier. But my goodness.
Yeah, she said, I loved my kids and I wasn't in the right mind that night, and she did not do this for a man. But she did.
Yeah.
I think in her head she thought she was going to be able to go live this happy life with...
And I feel like other people played into her, like, oh, poor Susan. And then she just ate that up too.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're both making
faces.
Hateful faces right now.
And we're giving the stink eye and everything to each other. It's not good.
Well, when you're ready, we have that other person to touch on too.
Yes, I am ready.
This other person we're talking about, and Nyoka and I were kind of discussing that the two are kind of similar in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. And her name is Diane Downs. in, what year was that? 1983 in Oregon, which way ever you prefer to say.
Yes.
She had 3 kids. Christy was 8, Cheryl was 7, and Danny 3.
Wow.
So, same thing. It's over a man. I don't know like how old she was and stuff, but she had gotten a divorce, which was the father of all the kids, and she had moved. She was working as like a mail carrier, and she met this guy, and he didn't want kids. So she decides and says that she's on this dirt road, like isolated road, or not dirt road, but like a country road. No one's around, but this man, she like pulls over whatever to help because he's broke down, and then he says, puts his, like, comes into her window, has a gun, shoves it into her shoulder or whatever, and says, like, give me your car, blah, blah, blah. So she said that she threw the keys out in the field or whatever. And he, in quotations, I loved the quote.
Air quotes.
Air quotes, I'll say that a lot. Shoots all the kids and then shoots her in her arm. So I believe she starts driving to the hospital, and she's like, oh, I need help. And I think it's Christy is in bed, and she kind of comes to. This is after, everyone is stable. Now, Cheryl, the 7-year-old, she did die. She died on the way, I believe, to the hospital.
Oh, my God.
But Danny and Christy, they're still alive. Christy sees her mother and is just scared to death. And they start kind of putting things together. Like, her story doesn't add up. And then kind of the same thing. Like, she gives a vague detail about the person, just a bushy-haired guy.
Yeah.
And so
she's convenient for her to be shot in just the arm, too.
Yes,
right? The one person that could really, probably describe the person.
Mm-hmm. And, as I'm saying this, I can picture Farrah Fawcett in my head, because Farrah Fawcett played her in, like, a made-for-TV movie.
Oh, really?
About this woman. So, I don't want to go too much into her, because she's just not worth... Let me just say, she is crazy. Like, how we were talking earlier about Susan Smith, kind of off camera, giggling and things like that.
Yes.
The same thing with her. So I just want to kind of, mention her.
So we know 2 survived, but did she think they were dead when she was getting help? Like, was she banking on that? Does she confess to this?
The detectives ended up talking, really talking to her.
Yeah.
And I wish I would have remembered more of, like, how they did the interrogation and such.
Yeah.
But, like, in court, you remember that Duran Duran song, Hungry Like a Wolf?
Yes.
She was in court. That song was playing in the car when they were doing their drive, when they were driving. And then she pulls over and shoots her kids, is what she did.
Oh, my God.
And so in court, they're playing this song. And she's, like, all kicked back, jamming out to the song. So, like I said, I don't know the entire timeline of the interrogation.
Yeah.
Of how they got her to confess.
Yeah.
But it's just so crazy how the 2 stories are so similar.
They are.
She got life plus 55 years, so she'll never get out.
Good.
When she was in prison, she was pregnant. I believe...
What's her name is Diane.
Diane Downs.
I keep wanting to call her Debbie Downer.
Yeah, we both kept saying Debbie Downs.
I'm going to look at her picture. I want to see.
I'm sure you've seen her and you just didn't realize
Diane
who she was.
Downs. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, she had another child, though, while she was in prison.
She did?
Mm-hmm. I think she got pregnant, like, right before the trial or something.
I gotta tell you, she looks a little scary. Doesn't she?
Yeah, that's That's like a great picture.
She does. She's got a very like long and square face, and I don't know. She in this picture, she's like got her eyes like where her head's tilted down and her eyes are like looking up.
Like, and looking all beady.
Yes.
She loves to do interviews, too.
Frightening. Yeah. Oh. Oh, and there's she's gotten old.
Oh,
You
wow.
guys need to
She has
look her
really...
up. Diane Downs. And you
She's
need to
really
see her
aged.
now. And that's 2018. So she looks rough. That is for sure. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I had to put her face. I had to know.
Yeah, because this was just like a last minute kind of, let's just mention her.
Yes, and it was very fitting for this episode because, I mean, just two horrible, horrible humans taking out their family.
For
Awful.
a man.
For a man.
That didn't want them.
It's awful. Well, guys, that's our depressing stories today. I guess maybe we'll just post some clues when we are going to do our next episode.
Yeah, we have not decided yet on who it will be.
It's up in the air. We have a list, though, of people we would like to cover. But if you have any suggestions, please, you can reach out to us. We have an email. You can contact us at operationemailpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, Operation Evil, and you can find us on Instagram, Operation Evil Podcast. And either way, both of us will look at these messages and read every single one. We have gotten a few suggestions already, and we are very thankful. We did cover one of those suggestions last episode. So that's all that we got for you. We will see you. Well, not see you. We will talk to you guys next time. Thanks for keep coming back. We appreciate it. All right. Bye.
Bye.